Welcome to episode 3 of the Undiscovered Metric with me, JJ Haig, and today I sat down with Kim Whittaker, Senior Director of Professional Services at Adverity, to talk all things Google Ads. So Kim, kicking off, would you mind just providing a sort of quick intro into your role and how you got into working in data?
Yeah, so I am the Senior Director of Professional Services at Adverity. My journey at Adverity started in the implementation team, supporting our clients in the initial onboarding stage of our platform. My team now supports all of our clients throughout the lifetime of their journey at Adverity, so various technical projects, tasks, even continuous support via a managed service. So due to the various small to enterprise clients that I've worked with, I'm really hoping that I can give you some helpful insight into Google Ads today, based on the knowledge I've built up over the last 3.5 years.
Should we start at the beginning, and do you want to give us a little bit of a background on Google Ads before we sort of jump into some of the metrics?
Yeah, so first of all, it's the world's top search engine, so it's around 85% market share. This means it really is an obvious starting point for marketers to use as a key platform to promote their business, as it allows them to easily reach large audiences and high quality traffic. It operates a PPC, so pay per click model, so advertisers will only pay when when users actually click on their ads as well. I would say it's a very flexible platform, so you can focus on different audiences, platform devices, location targeting, and it can be very flexible with budgets for certain optimization opportunities as well. I think that is especially important for new businesses. And PPC can really fill that gap whilst you're building up your SEO efforts over time. Obviously, Q4 last year, Google saw its second ever ad revenue drop in the company's history. I do think there's many reasons for this, such as the current economic climate's effect on the tech industry. There's the competition from TikTok, for instance, so competing with YouTube Shorts. However, I do still think it's a key player for marketing teams and their businesses.
Cool. And going into a little bit more detail on Google Ads, what are the sort of key data points that clients should be looking at on a regular basis? Are there sort of things that really stand out, or obviously we're talking that it's Google, right? So there's huge analytics available, but sort of what are the sources that people should be looking at?
Yeah, so I guess for anyone starting out, I would always say just to keep it simple. I think sometimes simple really is there for a reason. You have to ask yourself, what is each KPI telling me about my ads? I know it's obvious, but here I'm going to talk around impressions, clicks, conversions, costs, CTR, CPC, as these really are all key data points. So firstly, if we're looking at impressions, this is not only telling you obviously how many times your ad was seen, but actually you need to compare these impressions against other campaigns. So seeing what messaging performs the best and what is actually driving the most clicks. Again, the clicks, we're not just looking at the number of clicks your ad receives daily, but actually tracking this against your impressions to see, are my ads actually reaching the right audience? Obviously, higher clicks usually means higher conversions. So conversions, this gives you a good indication, are the users actually completing the desired outcome for my ad? So the average conversion rate for Google Ads, for instance, on the search network is around 4 or 5%. Display, this is around 0.5 to 1%. So you can use this as a very, very general benchmark. Obviously, this varies across industries. Search network usually generates more conversions due to the user actively looking for a solution compared to display ads, for instance. Then you have CTR, so a very good indicator of performance, especially when comparing different ad or keywords where optimizations can take place. And then you've got your cost, your CPC, your CPM. So how much am I actually paying for each click on my ads? And I think this is the main metric around your budget, and it also your budget depends on, and I also think it's monitored across many platforms outside of Google Ads as well. So I do think there's many reasons that that most Google Ads and performance dashboards at Adverity do hold these metrics, because I think it's very much a key starting point to understanding your audience and answering those key business questions as well.
Cool. And it sounds like with those explanations, which are fantastic, by the way, that actually digital advertising isn't as complex as sometimes it may seem for people starting out.
Yeah, and I think these are the key metrics that a lot of our like dashboards will compare against as well, and bringing them into that single source of truth.
Perfect. And just expanding on that a little bit, what questions does the data help you answer? Obviously, I know we've touched upon a little bit in terms of whether impressions and conversions are working and whether your ads are working, but are there any things that you can sort of start spotting trends and really using the data to sort of help answer that sort of advertising strategy question?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, as mentioned, the Google Ads is always a very, very good place to start. But obviously, as the marketing world evolves, so do our platforms as well. So it's great to understand the interest, so the impression, the clicks. However, this can always drive you to more business questions, and this really makes you think around the step beyond and how to actually update your strategy and need for change. A lot of marketers will use Google Ads as that base, and then they'll link this alongside Google Analytics properties, for instance. So Google Ads will give you that base knowledge, and then it will link with Google Analytics, which will give answers to more of those key business questions. So, for example, out of those clicks, what clicks are new visits versus returning visitors? Outside of Google Ads, where is my referral traffic coming from? Could I target another audience outside of Google Ads to complement it? How long are users actually spending on my landing page? Which keywords are leading to higher conversions? What is my drop-off rate? So I think I'm trying to show that actually the combination of different Google suites can also be powerful in actually answering more business questions as well.
What do you think are the most sort of undiscovered metrics from Google Ads? What are the things that people necessarily aren't looking at that they should be or could be more prevalent when they're sort of analyzing results?
Yeah, so I'm gonna start with, I guess, two key metrics that I've looked at. So that is quality score and impression share. So quality score, this is looking at the combined score. So looking at expected click-through rate, ad relevance, landing page experience, and it gives you a score of 1 to 10. Why is this important? I think it gives you ideas to improve your ad experience and in turn increase those vital conversions and reduce costs as well. If you actually look back through the timeline events for the quality score, I think this is vast. There have been a lot of frequent updates and changes to the algorithm, constantly making improvements and refining the formula and the positive effect on its ads. So I put that as an important because I think by actually staying on top of this metric, you're also staying current and therefore your content relevant as well. Obviously, there's always going to be for and against arguments for many metrics. So many may disagree with this, this being my undervalued metric, but I do believe it's the most consistent approach around keyword data as well. Looking more, I think that the second one I've mentioned is impression share. I think this is an important metric to understand if you'd actually like to transform the performance of your ads. So how it does this is it looks at your actual impressions against your total eligible impressions. I think if your impression share is low, it would highlight potential keyword or budget issues maybe. If you have low impression share, then you can optimize your setup by looking at your target audience and the quality score that I've just mentioned, increasing budgets, location targeting, potentially getting rid of low performing campaigns or actually seeing if there's any competitor ads that are overlapping. I often don't think this is used enough, which could be for many reasons. So are users scared of pulling this data to see results? Do users tend to focus more on those vanity metrics rather than actionable metrics? So again, this is why I put it as my undervalued metric.
Thank you. I think vanity metrics is a theme that we've touched upon a couple of times already in this series, and I think we're going to see more and more of. So it's really interesting to see that you're calling those out as well. And on those metrics, just do you have any sort of tips and tricks for people on when they're starting to look at these in more serious cases, something that they should be doing, or actually on the flip side of that, any sort of common mistakes that people are making with Google Ads that you think actually stop doing that and it's going to improve your experience tenfold?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's been a bit of a theme in my conversation today. A lot of what I've spoken around really is around enabling and focusing on those optimized opportunities. So you've got tools like your keyword and negative keyword optimizations, for example, to really drive that CTR and those conversions. So things to avoid, I think, just really make sure you know your data. Don't just auto apply recommendations for examples. For example, really think, is this having a positive effect? And is this actually driving my own goals, especially around those search and display networks as well?
So take a step back, think of what you're trying to achieve before doing it, and question why, rather than just someone's told me to do it, right?
Yeah, and just make sure those goals are aligned. The auto recommendations, for instance, might have different goals if you're not necessarily pushing for clicks. But yeah, all around that.
You mentioned earlier that a lot of things change very quickly. Google are updating algorithms, and I think that's probably a trend within the marketing industry as a whole. Things change almost on a daily basis. So are there any sort of things that you think are going to catch fire over the next 18 months, or things that you really see that people should be focusing on?
Yeah, so I guess I've got three main that I would look at. So firstly, short form video trends. You only have to open your Instagram app to actually see the platform is trying to push you to upload reels rather than pictures, for instance. Also, the increased revenue and usage on TikTok is a good indicator here as well. Secondly, something a lot of people have been speaking around is that increased focus on first-party data due to those restrictions on third-party. Google is set to deprecate third-party cookies by 2024, which has already had a lot of frequent delays and been pushed out. I'm sure there will be a lot, and there already has been a lot of conversations and discussions on its replacement too. And thirdly, I'm going to mention using an integrated data platform and tool to get that single source of truth and trusting your data. And this is obviously something that us at Adverity can help you with as well.
Really appreciate your time, and really appreciate you chatting to us about Google Ads. I think some of the insights you've given have been absolutely fascinating, and a really good basis for people that really want to get their teeth stuck into this. So thank you. Just before you go, what's something that you wish you had known earlier in your career, or a piece of advice you would want to give to someone starting out in the industry?
So absolutely, I would say challenge yourself and get out of your comfort zone. As you've mentioned, this industry really is very fast moving, so don't be left behind. And secondly, just ask questions and continue learning as well.
Awesome. Kim, thank you so much, and really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, JJ.